Welcome to the first episode of Gardening with Jen. Today we are going to discuss transplanting of my tomato seedlings to give them a nice, strong, healthy root system before I put them in the garden. And these are seeds that I started indoors about 8 weeks ago. Or you can, if you have tomato starters, you'd have to buy them by now if you hadn't started your seeds indoors. And I want to show you the difference between how big they can get depending on how much of a space you give them for their roots. These two plants, these seeds were planted on the same day from these two plants about 8 weeks ago, and you can see the difference. This one was transplanted one time into this bigger container, and today I'm going to be taking these plants and I'm going to be planting them into these containers that are recycled soda bottles that I cut the tops off and some holes in the bottom with a box cutter for drainage, and this way they will develop a nice root system. And tomatoes love heat, so they can get some heat through the sides, which they actually really like to develop a nice, strong, healthy root system before I put them out in my garden. I'm going to put this right here. And I have my potting soil ready, and the most important thing to do before you transplant is you want to soak those plants as much as possible so you can make sure that the roots stay together when you transplant them. Don't worry about overwatering them. You can't do it. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch off gently the lower leaves of the stem. The most important part you never want to disrupt is this very top cluster, and I'm going to take this one out, hopefully all at once, like this, and gently place it into my container. And then I'm going to put soil up all around the stem. Try to pack it around. This is potting soil that I prepared ahead of time, making sure it's also nice and damp, because that helps reduce the shock to the roots of the plant the more that it's wet. The goal here is to reduce the shock to the plants as much as possible when we transplant them. And as this plant grows the next few days, I will probably top it off with a little more soil at the top. And we're going to see the difference. I'm going to keep this one small so we can see the difference over time in how big this one gets before I put it in the garden compared with this one. And I'm going to repeat it with these other ones. And next we'll talk about hardening off your plants.